to call the meeting to order, even though they're not out of order, as Mark said. So today we have a wonderful guest, Andrea Avazian.
That was very close, and that's fine. It was
No,
perfect.
how do you pronounce it?
Well, you used the Armenian pronunciation, which I appreciate.
Okay.
So in Armenia, it's Ivazian. In this country, it's basically Avazian.
Avazian. So the A is long.
Exactly.
Okay, Avazian. She's from Alden Baptist Church in Springfield, Mass. She's a reverend. And she's also the founder and director of the Sojourner Truth School for Social Change Leadership.
Perfect.
She is definitely someone that we appreciate her time today, and we are so happy to have her here. So thank you for coming and giving us your time.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much for inviting me.
I want to do the roll call. So if everyone can just provide us with your name.
Pat Rismer here.
Mark Dunn here.
Joanne Godding here.
And Crystal Jackson. Okay, so what I'd like to do is just jump to the approval of the minutes so we can give Ms. Avazian time to speak. So has everyone had excuse me, thank you, Mark, Doctor,
Fine. Fine.
has everyone had a chance to read the minutes?
Yes,
And everyone's fine?
Yes.
Okay, so,
I would make a motion to accept them
And I will
as written.
second that
Okay.
motion.
Mark motion and Joanne second,
Mhm.
all in favor, please?
Joanne, yes.
Mark, yes.
And Krista, thank you. Okay,
There we go.
And just get the business out of the way.
yes. So I see here it says a fireside chat.
In
I like that.
Can you explain?
June.
In
A
June.
fireside chat, just when we don't need a fire, but,
Oh, right.
yes,
We always need a fire.
there you go.
Yeah.
It needs to be lit somewhere.
Yeah.
Did that start with FDR? Is that where the fireside chat?
You know, it may be FDR that started having fireside chats and then it stuck. And
Yeah.
many of them have had fireside chats. I don't think Trump will, but many have.
A different kind of fire.
He's
Different
like.
kind of fire. You're right, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, basically, Dr. Avazian will answer any questions we may have for her or any discussions. She has come here open-minded, so if anyone would like to lead off and start with anything they have on their mind, just so, we can all get comfortable with her.
I do want to start by saying thank you for inviting me and thank you for the warm welcome that you've all given me. I'm delighted to be with you all. I'm hoping very much that I'm useful and that I have helpful things to say. I'm sure you're going to be polite, even if I'm not useful, but you will, but I hope what I say can move your work forward. I appreciate your work. I appreciate what you're doing. And so I consider us having a conversation, a discussion, a fireside chat among colleagues and friends. So I'm delighted to be here and I thank you. And I want to also really thank Mark and also Crystal for helping me prepare, explaining to me who you were, lots of emails going back and forth. This is who we are. This is what we've done. These are other guests that have come. So I got a lot of background and I felt like I was, preparing to come. We had a lot of back and forth. I want to appreciate you because you've already invested time in this process.
Thank you, we appreciate that.
Oh,
I appreciate that as much. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
So does anyone have anything? Mark, would you like to lead off? Yes.
Where it you can, in these crazy times.
Yes.
Well, I'll just start off on I don't know, it's not a tangent if we don't have a main vector anymore. So we were talking about parenting. I have a 25-year-old daughter who is so discouraged by the current state of affairs. She self-identifies as lesbian. And her girlfriend is trans and they feel very vulnerable. And I mentioned to her, did you see this? Did you see that? And I send things and so, I don't watch the news, it's too upsetting. And so I feel like they're sticking and this may, I don't know how indicative this is of her generation, but they are sticking their heads in the sand to a degree. And I also think I heard her say that she gets her news from social media. I'm like, oh, no,
Yeah.
it's not vetted. It's
Yeah.
not, anyone can say anything. But and when I'm going to these protests, it's a lot of the older generation, you know?
Yeah.
So how do we get the youth? I mean, on one hand, I haven't heard this, but maybe they're angry at us. This is what you gave us. But then I'd have to go back and look and see what the demographics were, how many of you voted, how many votes did we lose by? So I don't know that it's our fault, but I do, you always wanna leave your children in a garden that's greener than it was when you got there, and
I have some thoughts about this. It's interesting that Mark, that you and I remember my coming to Jackson Street School so long ago and talking about parenting.
Yeah.
And we were talking about parenting younger middle school kids or elementary school
Yeah.
kids. And now your daughter's 25.
and I feel like I got the micro good, but it's the macro that's
Yes,
scaring you right now.
yes.
Mhm.
So I'd love to start there.
Sure.
Does that sound okay? I didn't know we were gonna jump into parenting. I thought we were gonna jump into Hadley and
Oh.
DEI in Hadley, and we will maybe get there, but
And we probably should, but they,
no,
you trusted
absolutely.
me to ask
And,
the first
I'm
question.
delighted to answer this question, and it's very much on my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, me
It
too.
is inclusion
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and diversity.
it absolutely is. So,
For young folks.
so I have a couple of things to say. One is that, what I have found I parent an adult son and have a daughter-in-law. They are 37 and 40. And, I'm also on the Smith College campus a lot. I speak in classes and I'm talking to Smith students a lot. And I think that when you say, are they angry at us? I think they are. I think they get to be. And I think we need to not be defensive about that and not push back against that, but almost draw it out to
Mhm.
let young people be
Mhm.
angry because the world is a mess. And I'm 73, but whether we older, so I'm older than all of you by much.
63.
But, okay, but
66.
okay, all right, all right. I had you all
59.
okay. But whether we are responsible or not feels irrelevant. The world is a mess. It's burning and it's flooding and it's on fire, and that's a problem. Racism is clearly
So much.
rearing its head
Sure.
and very overt. I mean, racism has always been a
Yes.
problem, and now the veil is even dropped. I mean, there's
Yeah.
not even a veil in society about white people pretending to be
Exactly.
anti-racist. There's
Correct.
not even a pretense.
Yeah.
There's
And
white grievance.
yes, and they're empowered. White grievances are empowered, and we're flying in white South African Afrikaners
Yeah.
so there's that. There's also tremendous pain around Ukraine. There's tremendous pain around Israel and
Yeah.
Gaza. I'm not even gonna go into, what I'm saying is that if they are angry about the state of the world, they can be angry at us. We have to be the adults who absorb that.
Yeah.
My feeling is to not push that away or defend, but to almost draw it out if young people seem angry or are sounding angry, to actually say, can we talk about that feeling? Because when I'm sensing, and I don't say you seem so angry, we never say that, but we can say, I'm sensing, or my gut is telling me, or my feeling from your body language or your expression right now, you don't even have to say towards me, is upset and maybe anger. And I get it. Can you give it words? Can you express it and draw it out?
Mhm.
Because they get to say, you messed up this world. We partially did. I mean, we certainly did on climate change.
Yeah.
And in other ways. So the anger is justified, or even if it
Mhm.
isn't, listen with a completely undefended heart. That's one thing. Telling young people that they shouldn't get their news from social media is a non-starter. They are going to anyway, and it feels judgmental of them. So we just don't say that. One of the things that is we're learning, and I'm hearing that's helpful, is tell young people about you. Tell them what you are doing to
Yeah.
stop climate change, or to go to the Saturday No King's Day parade or rally, or
Yeah.
writing Congress people, or making calls to the White House, or tell them about you. Tell them what you are doing. Tell them about this commission. Tell them that you are all really busy, which you are. Mark wrote me and said, we are overcommitted, over busy people. It was some great
Yeah.
line where he wrote me he says, we're a handful of Hadley residents
Yes.
who are all overcommitted volunteers. Tell them that. Tell them you come to this. Tell them
Yes.
anything you are doing, tell them about you. And don't tell them with like rah rah. Now I want to just hope that you will applaud me and I'm aggrandizing power to myself. Tell them that you share in upset about the world. And so this is what you're finding to do. Even if you downplay it and say, it may not be as effective that I wish it were, but I am calling my congresspeople. I am writing postcards. I am going to rallies in Hadley and Northampton and Springfield. I am serving on this committee. I am reading these things. I am listening to these podcasts. Tell them about you. They can't take it away. That's your lived reality. That's your lived experience. B, you're modeling for them making change. And C, you are over time, if you tell them about you, giving them hope.
Mhm.
So I would say, tell them about you. I tell my son and daughter-in-law things that I'm doing. They're very discouraged. They're having a second baby. They were laid off. They think the world is going to hell in a handbasket. They're sad and angry. And I still tell them, I did this up in Greenfield and gave a talk at the Battered Women's Shelter, NELQUIT, New England Learning Center for Women in Transition. And this is how inspired I was by the other speakers. I tell them about things and they're like, it's hopeful, that's good. You go, mom. I don't say, are you marching on Saturday? I simply sent them a text and said, I'm marching in Springfield. I think Northampton doesn't need my body. I think Springfield does, so I'll be in Springfield. And they were like, you go, mom. So tell them about you. The second thing is, and I wrote an article about this, so if you are column readers,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if it was my last column. I get lost because I've been writing that monthly column for the Gazette for 15 years, so I lose track. But a recent column, maybe Joanne remembers, it might have been my last one. I talked about going and speaking at a class in Springfield. And I said that what I learned and what I'm hearing from young people is young people want an older generation to show up, to be present, to mentor when asked for it, but to make room.
Yeah.
That we're not making room enough.
Yeah.
That they are not, the Smith students told me that they went to one of the many rallies in downtown Northampton and they were troubled that they didn't see people like them on the stage.
Right.
Mhm.
And I wrote and said, folks, stop agreeing to be speakers unless there are young people and people of color on that stage.
Yeah.
It's like, all male panels. There are now rules in scientific gatherings where you can't have a panel of all male experts. There's a name for it, man poll.
Male chauvinist, no.
Yeah, there's that. So there's that. But there's a man panel or man poll or something like that they're now using where they won't have an entire panel of white male talking heads.
Yes.
And we need to say that if we're doing political things, we can't have rallies that have all white, older, mainly male, but some female too, speakers. And, uh, sometime after Trump came into office, I was asked to speak at one of these rallies in front of the courthouse in Northampton. And I went up, I don't know if any of you were there, but I went up and I said, this is why I'm a bad choice. I'm happy to be here, but I am telling you, I'm the wrong choice,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna tell you it so that you'll remember next time.
Mhm.
I think the lineup of people today all look like me,
Mhm.
and I'm old and white-haired.
Yeah.
And yes, a veteran of many, 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 many movements. I've been active for 50 years,
Yeah.
but I'm the wrong choice. So next time, this lineup needs to have young people, it needs to have people of color in it. So use the privilege and the influence we have and say, we do want to lead and bring our experience, but we also want to make room. And the Smith students said they came down to a rally, I don't know which one it was, and left again. A whole contingent from a dorm went down and looked around and said, they're all 80. I said to them, you know, we're not all 80, but we're close to they're all 80. People were mainly white, and they just thought. So I said to the crowd, and I wrote him a column, which I think Joanne makes, and I said, we need to lead and make room.
Yeah.
And then I got angry mail.
Of course.
I got angry mail where
Of
people
course,
wrote
yeah.
to me and said, you know, we're experiencing, we're knowing what's going on, and if you don't want to talk to these, and you know, you hit delete, and you hit
Exactly.
delete,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
hit delete.
Yeah.
So I would say validate, affirm in every way a 25-year-old lesbian with a trans partner. Affirm, affirm, affirm. Don't criticize social media. Affirm and listen to the anger and even draw it out. You are equal to it. And tell them about you and lead, but not too much.
Mhm.
Is that useful?
That very.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that useful?
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
very, very much so.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you for that.
okay.
And it's true, I was speaking to Pat today, saying that we have to address the young people. And that's the generation we need to speak to, because they are the ones that are going to be the leaders. And if they do not feel included now, then they're not going to include their children. And
Yes,
and then it's
exactly.
going to trickle down, and we're not going to have anyone on stage because the 80-year-olds will be dead.
Yes, that's exactly,
So then it's going to be a lost
That's right.
cause.
there you go, exactly.
So I'm wondering how someone with influence can reach out to the young people, at least maybe one or a handful, just to show that the older generation is interested
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the younger generation's voice.
and you're wondering how to get that message out?
Yes.
Okay, I would really say, do not, minimize the power of writing. And the
Uh-huh.
power of your voice on text or in, they don't read editorials, maybe, podcasts, get your voice out there saying, I'm an elder wanting to listen.
Mm,
I'm an elder wanting to listen. I've made jokes about taking a sign that's sitting in Pulaski Park or other places saying movement, old activists
mhm.
wanting to talk to the youth, wanting to talk to me. I want to listen. I want to listen. I've made jokes about that, about wanting to sit there with a thing that said old activists wanting to talk to young people, talk to me. I want to listen.
Mhm.
Not I want to talk at you. I want to listen. I have not done that yet, but I have to tell you, I'm tempted.
I'll be there with you if you do it.
Yeah, okay, then
You
maybe
know what, I'll
before
sit
we
right
do
there.
it, maybe we say older people, not that you're so old. But the older people wanting to listen to young people, sit down, we've got donuts. I'm
Exactly.
not kidding. I've actually thought we
No,
should do
let's
this
just do that and just like have a table in the middle.
with, and have donuts.
This is what I mean.
I'm not kidding, and have donuts and
I was
coffee,
thinking about doing that in the winter time, having a
that
big
cocoa.
table with cocoa
There you
and
go.
stocks. But then I didn't want to look weird, so I didn't.
And you
do
know,
it.
we will look weird,
Yeah.
And people will think they're weird, and some of the street people and some of the crazy people and some of the other people, we have a lot
Oh,
of,
yeah.
we have people with mental illness. I mean, I actually think we're all on the spectrum of
Right,
mental
sure,
illness. I actually think we
sure.
are. But we have some people who will call out or come over, but that's fine. I've lived in Northampton a million years.
Yeah,
And I know most of their names, and these are dear people. Some people will come over and we may have some questions about why we are gonna look weird.
Mhm.
But that is all God's people.
Right.
All God's people can come and talk to us, all God's people, and we could have coffee and donuts or bagels or something and say, talk to us.
Right,
And we would welcome anyone, but I want the sign to say really clearly that we want to listen to young people. I do want to restate that older people and some challenged people, I think we all are challenged, will come visit us, and that is fine. We
Right,
hand out our
sure.
food and everything, but I'm not kidding. I actually think that is a strategy. I didn't write about that in my
Not yet.
column, but I actually think being very visible, I think writing matters, finding out maybe what people are reading. I'm a big believer in writing and in the power of the written word, short, pithy. My columns are under 800 words generally. They make a difference.
Yeah.
So I would say make every opportunity to listen, not lecture, not have an agenda, but listen and then validate. And even validate things you don't agree with.
of course.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
listening is.
That's right.
Yeah,
Listening
right.
is
Yeah.
putting a big X tape on your mouth, so you can't speak,
That's right.
and just listen. I
That's
mean,
right.
whenever you want to do it, I'm there.
You know what? I think this is an idea. I think we could move around. We could do
Exactly.
Hadley in Northampton. We could do the Hadley Common. We have to think about where young people hang out. There are definitely young people going through Pulaski Park.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
yeah. I don't know about Hadley too much because the students are gone.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I
How
don't,
about the mall?
no, it's a dead mall now.
Yeah, but.
Do they
Well,
still
yeah.
go roller skate or is that? a
They
thing of the
roller
past?
skate, but it's not
That's
as,
too young.
That is too
and not
young.
only that, they have certain nights where different crowds of people go.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
A lot of them go to like
Yeah.
the fitness places.
Oh, yes.
Planet Fitness.
That's a
Yeah,
great idea.
yeah.
Be out in front. Of course,
Yeah.
they're not gonna want a donut, but they might want a bagel.
Yeah.
Bagel
Yeah.
and peanut butter is a little bit of protein.
You could have
Yeah.
smoothies to hand out.
Yeah.
Smoothies.
Nice smooth, with a blender right there, so it's fresh.
That's really funny,
Yeah.
but I don't think this is such a bad idea.
No,
We
I
can
think
talk,
that's
Crystal.
something, yeah. I mean, to get the younger generation involved,
Yep,
they have to know that they are welcome to be seen and heard.
yes,
And if groups of college students are going to a rally or to somewhere to an event and then leaving,
yep,
that's not good.
that's right.
That's not good.
And that's what I heard. I heard
It's
it
not good.
directly.
And
Yeah.
that's such a sad opportunity. I mean,
Yeah,
they're offline, they're there to
Yes.
engage, and we fail,
And
exactly.
if they saw the lineup of speakers and saw young people, they would
Right.
stay and wait to hear. They would also
Right,
bring
yeah.
their friends. They would text and say, this is worth coming to. You're up there, you're right up the hill, the Little Rise.
Yeah.
Come on down. And
Exactly.
they're all in touch all the time.
Oh, on that social media, they stay on it and you see
That's right.
little hearts flowing up.
That's
Because
right.
they're live,
Yeah, yeah.
so they're
That's right.
right there. So if someone is saying, I'm at this rally and
Come
guess
down.
what?
Guess what? There are
There's
two Smith
someone
students
who's
are
in
gonna
the
speak.
next dorm.
That's
Who's
right.
Speaking,
That's right. I recognize the Smith student. Come on down.
exactly.
And not just see the
Yeah.
me. So,
Yeah.
One of my ideas here, what's coming to me, given that we do have some connection with Hopkins
Mhm.
and a couple of seniors that are now, but
Mhm.
something like, I'm just brainstorming.
Mhm.
Uh, when they get out of school, seeing if you can get a conversation.
That's right.
I mean, I try to think about Hadley, nothing against Amherst and
yeah,
Northampton.
yeah. But
But here in
had,
this town, and the young people that I know of are high school students.
Yeah.
you also at Hopkins could ask for, they must still, in my day, we had assemblies. We had a weekly
Yeah.
Friday assembly. And then there was
Yeah.
a speaker, or there was a pep rally and the cheerleaders did things, or there was a weekly. So maybe schools still have assemblies. And you could actually go and see if the school would allow an interactive assembly. And sit up there and say, I've got some questions for you all, and we're gonna run around with a mic. We're gonna have some people with handheld mics. And one of our questions is, what is one thing you want to tell people 50 and older?
Mhm.
What's something you want us to hear?
Honestly.
Tell us right now. Honestly, there is no judgment. We have
Right.
now created a no
A
judgment zone.
safe space.
So we need 5 of you to raise their hands, be brave, be brave. There's no judgment. There's no judgment. We're actually not going to respond. We're not going to respond. I would do this with you. And we want to know one thing that you want people over 50 to hear. And then we're going to go around on to our next question. We're not going to defend it. We're not going to
Right.
anything. Okay, our next question is, what is one thing you never want to hear again from somebody over 50?
Mhm.
What's one thing you never want to hear coming out of our mouths
Right,
again?
right.
Wait, okay, that's good. Okay, what's one thing you wish a political event in Hadley, one theme for it or one direction? You could create questions and then run around with mics and make them say, I never want to hear again that we are like lazy or whatever.
Or social media too much, or whatever. it
Oh,
is.
Brian tells you, we should
Yeah.
stop vaping, or whatever
Yeah,
they're gonna say.
Yeah.
And then you go,
Listen.
thank you so much for that comment. You know, and the
Yeah.
ground rule is that the old people don't get to, respond.
Right.
We're listening, but we're tossing out some questions.
Right,
And then ask completely provocative questions
to give them that sense that they can say what they want and not get in trouble.
and not get in trouble.
And
And you
that's the
guarantee
thing.
it.
Yeah.
You guarantee it, and we have worked with the administration, and nobody is going to have any repercussion. We have created a safe zone for this hour, and we have also, we're promising you, we're not gonna actually respond. We're gonna say, thank you.
Right, and that can be done when they do come back. I
Yeah,
think they go
totally.
back in
We've
September.
had Dr. McKenzie, the superintendent of Hadley Schools here.
Yeah.
So we could reach out to her
Yeah.
and say, you
And say,
know,
we would
maybe
have
Yeah.
one assembly a month, like if you do one every week, if, you know, maybe, you know,
Exactly.
every fourth.
Yeah.
We could
Yeah.
try it.
And make it
Or
fun.
even.
and
if
make
it's-
it fun. I don't know if, I don't know if I would do one a month, because I don't know if you'll
Yeah.
think of enough good things.
Yeah.
And we don't want them to start thinking, oh no, they're back.
Yeah.
We want it to be really special. So I would say like
Yeah.
2 a semester.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
You want it to be really special. You don't want them to think, oh no, and what if it starts getting gimmicky
Yep.
or anything? But maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
No, it could be like, oh, it's
But-
mac and cheese again this
Yeah.
week. Yeah.
Exactly. If we
Some-
don't want mac and
yeah.
cheese again.
Some students are not gonna say anything when it's a whole assembly.
Yeah.
So if it was just, say, half of the senior class, or like if we broke it into smaller groups, my
Sure.
events in groups, there's some people, I'm not gonna say a damn thing.
That's right.
And the talkers are gonna speak up because they're extroverts.
Well, another
You know?
thing you can do is if
Or-
they're
or
in the
something to write on.
assembly, or if you're in the assembly, so you're sitting there and there's the old people, there's the elders on the stage. Well, I'm using elders, you're not that
Yeah,
old, but
yeah.
like there you're on the, and when you toss out a question, you say, you've got 1 minute, turn to your neighbor and tell them. And then you sit there and go, Crystal, what I never want to hear again is that I do too much social media. Then you grease the wheels, and then you say, who's brave enough to raise their hand and tell me something
There you go.
not that you heard. You can't quote your neighbor.
Right,
Yeah,
He, she, or they
Yeah.
did not give you permission to quote them.
yeah,
But what you can find, and we only want 5 of you, so then they will.
yeah,
cause
So you
everyone
would do
needs
that.
one to respond.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and then you
yeah.
say, then what's
Yeah.
one thing you never want to hear again? What's one thing you wanted us to know? What's one thing that drives you absolutely crazy about, talk like that?
Mhm.
What's one fear you have about, something happening in this country today? What's one
Mm.
joy or pride you have about? Just throw it out there. And then don't respond, just I would do that, I would absolutely do
And
that
what's
right here at
one thing
Hopkins.
You want us to stop doing?
Totally,
Yeah,
totally,
What
one
do
thing you want us to stop doing, totally. One thing that makes you proud about America today, see if you get any hands, and you might not, I don't know Hadley.
Yeah.
But, I would do that. I would do assemblies, and I think we should sit in parks.
I think we should.
I think we should too, and I think we should have donuts or whatever,
Mhm.
or I think we should go to fitness clubs, or I think we should go to the mall. that
Wherever
like
you
to-
have to go to get young people
People to talk to
involved.
us.
To
Yeah.
engage, yeah.
It's this
Wherever they are.
country and what's happening is sparking so much fear
Totally.
that we do not want our children to start to get withdrawn.
And you know, if our sign said in great big letters, young people first, we are elders wanting to listen.
And it shows them that they are important.
They matter. And as you said before, Crystal, they're seen and heard.
Exactly.
You said it before. And then we could say, have a donut, have a cup of coffee,
Come-
sit down, talk to
vent.
us. 1 minute, 10 minutes, 1 hour,
Whatever
your
you
call.
need, whatever you need.
Whatever you need, whatever you want.
Yeah.
So I think these are some ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
The message is that we need to be vulnerable. As one person at Smith said, we need, older people to show up and shut up.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And I said, and then she said, you know, I'm really sorry I said that, Reverend. And I said, you don't have to be sorry. I think show up and shut up is like a really good mantra
It
for
is.
people over 40. No, no,
Yeah.
so whatever.
we know what you mean.
But it was straight out. It was
Yeah.
show up and shut up.
Yeah.
And I think that's good.
Mhm.
So we want to show up, organize things, buy the donuts, do whatever, organize the assembly, and then let them talk, do everything that,
Mhm.
and no matter what they say, you affirm them. Thank you for sharing, Jared. Thank you for sharing, Betty. Thank you for sharing.
Mhm. And you never know,
Wow.
someone may want to come with us to
Yeah,
the next spot.
that's exactly right.
And
That's exactly
that
right.
will allow more of their peers to want to open up.
I think that's exactly
Because
right.
now you don't just have two elders,
Yeah,
you have someone who's their peer that they know for a fact will listen.
that's
Even
exactly
if
right.
they think we may, that middle person will,
That's right.
they will.
That's right.
So you never
Right.
know, someone may say, I like what you're doing
Yeah.
and I wanna come along with you.
And we say, great.
And we say, come on, we're going here and here, what do you like, donuts and bagels?
Yeah, exactly.
Tea or coffee?
Exactly.
What you're doing is
Exactly.
talking about weaving bonds of connection based on a humble posture of learning.
That's
We
exactly.
want to learn and have humility, and I think there's great power in that.
I do too, and you
Yeah.
put it so beautifully. You put it
That's
beautifully.
something I've been, I mean, as we're chatting, I'm thinking, I could ask these questions to youth that I do know,
Yeah,
like my own
absolutely.
daughter.
To
I mean, I
totally.
have some idea, but you see me taking notes, I can't help it.
Good,
Just to specifically word it that way.
totally.
I have a friend who's 42. I'm older, she's younger. She would have things to, I mean, actually, a lot of people
Yes,
uh,
totally.
of any ages, but
Totally.
specifically to address the, I don't want to call it youth apathy, really, but I
Well,
don't want to call it that, but
The
drawing
reason,
out youth.
the reason those two questions rolled off my tongue, the reason I immediately said, ask them what they never want to hear again
Yeah.
and ask them, the reason my two questions rolled off my tongue is because I do use them.
Mhm.
I do use them, and I mainly use them with people of color. I say, what do
Yes.
you never want to hear again?
Yeah,
What do you wish we would stop saying, whites? What do you wish whites would stop doing? I actually ask this question a lot. And if people feel safe enough with you or are feeling, feeling empowered and feeling strong, they'll tell you straight out.
yeah,
Just straight out. Well,
Yeah.
this is what I don't.
yeah.
So that's why they rolled off my tongue, because I use them.
That
And
that
they are,
fits, that fits.
and they
Yeah.
are really useful.
Yeah,
People will really
yeah,
speak to you.
wow.
So I would use those.
Okay.
it is great.
It is,
I've been worried about Sunday is Father's Day. I'm hiking up to my daughter's hut where she's the hut master. But now I have a plan of action
totally.
because I will have moments to engage her and her crew, or a bunch of 20s
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in their 20s.
you've got an
Yeah.
opportunity for
You
learning.
know, these are great do's and don'ts. Thank you.
Wonderful. And if you're hiking up to the hut on Sunday, go to No King's Day on Saturday, anywhere. and then say that, say, I want to tell you about, and be critical of it. Say, I was sad that all the speakers were white, or I was
Uh-huh.
happy that all the
Uh-huh.
speakers were
Uh-huh.
of color, or I was sad that all the speakers were over 40, or I was happy that just critique it. You don't have to say it was world's famous, but you can say, I noticed that there were more
Yeah.
young people and I was so relieved, or I noticed there weren't any young people and I thought, oh no, here we are.
Yeah,
And here I'm trying to show up and shut up and do that. Tell them about you. We don't tend to do that,
Hmm.
but I've learned with my son that it is creating hope in them. And I've been a lifelong activist. And so, this is in his DNA and this is what he's inheriting.
Mhm.
And my papers have been archived at the Smith Archive in the library. So my papers in my life and is now at Smith.
Wow.
And and it's a great honor and I'm very happy about it. And I told my son, my papers have actually been there for a few years. They took them in my early 60s. And I told my son, Sasha, the Smith Archive has accepted my papers. And so I'm there, I'm in the library and everything. And he said, I look forward to taking my daughter to see her grandmother's
Mhm.
papers
Mhm.
at Smith. And I thought this is a source of hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you can take her when she's a Smith student. And he said, oh.
Right,
Yeah.
I got it.
So, give them. I often think that sometimes with our kids, there's proximity without intimacy, that we
Mhm.
shield them from who we are and what we're doing deeply and what we're thinking about and and I think there can be proximity and intimacy in terms of reveal more.
Yeah.
I'm not saying be puffed up or
Yeah,
paradise power
I
to
hear you.
yourself. I'm not
Right.
saying that.
Right.
I hear
I'm
that.
saying this is what's on my mind. This is how I'm using my time. This is how I'm part of the resistance. This is how I stand for justice. This is the anti-racism values I believe in. Let them know, fail though we are,
Mhm.
limited though we are,
Mhm.
let them know you and know you better.
Yeah, let them understand that you're not just a parent, you are a person
Thank you.
who has been on a journey and you didn't wake up and become a parent. You had a long path of learning.
That's right.
And you had to go through certain things to get to where you are. And I think sometimes we do not tell our children who we are because they see us as one way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you let them know a different way, it may cause a balance influx.
Yes.
So some people want to stay on that parent role instead of saying, okay, this is my vulnerability now.
Yes.
Because they don't want their children to see them as vulnerable.
Yes.
When the child, no matter how old, looks up to that parent to
Yes.
stay that soldier.
That's right.
So it's a hard position to place yourself when you want to tell them, you want to say, this is where I come from, this is what I've done, this is what I'm doing, this is what I realize, I see what you see.
Mhm.
And then the next day they come to you for advice,
Mhm.
and now they may say, well, I don't even know if they can help me anymore. Now they see you in a different light. So it's
Mhm.
hard to have that structure broken down
Mhm.
and also still maintain authority.
That's right. I think that's exactly right. And I think that's beautifully put. And I think that's part of the challenge.
Yeah.
And we just have to be sensitive and work with that challenge. Sasha said something about my son calling in the National Guard
Mhm.
to LA and the inappropriate of this. I mean, my son's pretty much a radical. I mean, he has two radical parents and everything. And I was able to say, Sasha, I was in college at Oberlin College, which is where he also went, on May 4th, 1970,
Mm.
when the National Guard shot 4 students at Kent State.
Yeah, state, yeah.
I was in Ohio,
Mm.
and the Kent State students, Kent State shut down. They had 4 murders right there on the campus.
Yeah.
Kent State shut down, and the Kent State students, many of them came an hour and a half north to Oberlin. And we called them the refugees. Word went out, I don't know how, because we didn't have cell phones, but somehow it was figured out that Oberlin would welcome them. And we put them in lounges and in our dorm rooms on the floor, and we made beds on the floor, and Oberlin shut down, and Kent State students came, and we started a week-long teach-in.
Mm.
And I was able to say, this is in my life.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was 20
Mm.
and they were shot an hour and a half away. And that's a defining moment in my life. Let your kids know you.
Mhm.
You don't have to give a whole big lecture about that radicalized me forever. I was never the same. We'd already
Right,
been
yeah, right.
protesting the Vietnam War, but
Right.
but you want to know what's happening in LA? It happened in Ohio,
Mhm.
and they shot them, and they were peacefully protesting. And we just have to keep resisting. So you can open the door a little bit, tell a story, and then
Shut it.
then stop it.
Yeah, like the window, open it a little bit.
Yep.
Welcome some air, but now we have to close
There
it
you go.
because we don't need too much air. We can still breathe,
That's right.
you know,
That's right.
instead of
Mhm.
suffocating one another.
So use those moments, but make them moments. Moments.
Make it count.
And they count, make them count.
Yeah, make them count. You don't want to overdo it because then they'll shut down.
That's right. And they'll stop listening,
And they'll
they'll shut
stop
down
listening.
and stop listening.
It's like you feed them like goldfish. You feed a little bit here,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
you know, and you just keep it going.
That's right.
That looks like the climate.
That is the plan. I guess they gave up and quit.
They said everything's
Sorry.
burning and
No,
flooding.
Nothing we can do now.
Everything's burning and flooding.
We're done.
It's either too hot, too cold, flooding, too dry,
Yeah.
too wet.
Yeah, that's the thing I think about the farmers with this rain. It's not warm enough to dry it up and then it rains again and then it's cold at night. And it's like, I just feel for them because they spend so much money on seed and everything just to have it, you know, go under.
The month of May is tough.
Yeah,
Really.
and that's when they plant, end of April, I believe, beginning of May, when they start after the first frost. So,
And when people say, we will feel the effects of climate change, we are.
We already are.
But we
Oh,
are living
yeah.
through climate
We
change.
really are.
We are living
Oh,
it.
yeah.
we really
Oh,
are.
yeah.
We are living. If it's not the LA fires, it is the floods, it is North Carolina, it is Asheville,
Exactly.
it is
It's snowing where it shouldn't. It's-
absolutely, it's dry where it shouldn't be.
It's
Yeah.
not- we don't get snow anymore, I can't go cross country skiing, there's not enough snow in the winter.
You can't even cross-country ski anymore. There's not enough snow.
Yeah,
Just to do it.
migrations are changing.
Yeah. I see it. Sometimes I see the ducks, they look so confused.
Yeah.
Because they're going,
way?
and then
They're
they're coming, they're going and they're coming, and it's so sad to see that because they don't know, and also. It's sad to see the birds when, you know, it's supposed to be nice outside and it snows.
That's right.
And they're flying around and it's like, oh my gosh, I wish I could just take them and put them somewhere
Yeah.
until it stops snowing, but you know, it's just climate change is terrible, like the change.
And we're
is
living it.
disgusting.
In big
Yeah.
ways and in small
Yes.
ways, we're living with
Oh,
the
yeah.
effects of climate change now.
Right now.
It
Yeah.
doesn't really get winter anymore, I would say maybe until like December, end of December, it does, you know, January, because
Maybe.
it's still warm. I
That's right.
literally take pictures in April of it snowing,
Yeah.
snowing outside.
Yeah.
I will take pictures of the thermometer outside in December and it's 65 degrees.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
how is this? Well, I
How is
know
this
it's possible, but it's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
And we were warned about this, but now it's being ignored. There's no such thing as climate change. We are all out of our minds.
Mhm.
And, you
Mhm.
know, it's just, it's happening, you know, and that's another thing that the next generation is worried about.
That's right.
Because,
With justification.
yeah, they don't understand how is it what are we going to deal with when we get older?
Mhm.
What are we going to have when we get older? You know, already can't really rely on eating fresh fish because of everything in the water,
That's right.
everything in the air, everything in the rain. I
Mhm.
mean, it rains and I have white spots on my car window.
Yes.
White
Oh, yeah.
spots.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, are you serious?
that's right.
It's just, I don't know. I can't let it get to me because then you'll go crazy. You'll go crazy worrying about it.
That's right.
I just pray that the food that I eat, I won't get sick.
That's right.
You know, I don't eat meat, so I try to limit what I can.
And then, we're tempted to buy all organic, and then who can afford that?
Not only that, I remember, not gonna name any names, but someone who was in office before Biden made rules of what the standard for organic is.
Oh, okay, all right.
And it's very low.
It is?
Yeah,
Very low.
yeah.
I
It's
didn't
very
know it
low.
was very low.
It's very low. And also someone told me that a lot of our food, vegetables and so forth, are being grown hydroponically.
Okay,
And hydroponically, they use a UV light to grow the food. That's organic. There's no
oh,
pesticides.
Oh, I see.
There's no pesticides. That's
oh,
organic.
okay,
So,
wow.
yeah. So this is what someone told me. And sometimes when you look at food and it'll say organic, but it's so small.
Yeah.
Like this a head of cabbage, so it's like
I
a
see.
softball.
Let's see.
It's because they can't grow to the full potential under UV lights.
Mhm. I
Oh,
didn't realize that.
I don't know how true it is. I mean, you just have to take what you can and use your
Yeah.
mind to decipher what's
That's
happening.
right. That's
You
right.
know, a lot of people say a lot of things, but you'll be able to tell when you do your research.
Yeah,
You know, that's all can be done.
that's right.
So when someone is eating, I would say you're eating a red vegetable and you wash it and it comes off.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a natural
Telltale
vegetable.
sign.
There you go. Or if you boil a brown egg and after it finishes boiling, it's white now. It wasn't really a brown egg,
That's right.
you know, so there's a
Oh.
lot of things that, you know, you have to look at and think about and determine. You can't starve yourself, you know. The one thing that really has me baffled now is organic corn.
Oh, okay.
How can, I mean, corn is the biggest product that's GMO.
Mhm.
The biggest
Really
product.
altered a lot.
And now it's organic.
Wow.
I would never trust organic corn. Trust organic corn.
Uh-huh.
No, they have popcorn, organic popcorn.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
Corn,
That's so funny.
Yes.
you know, so I would never trust organic corn or beans.
Yeah,
I
there
wouldn't
you
trust
go.
organic beans either. Just say it as it is, unless it's grown under UV lights, then it's organic. So does anyone else have any wonderful
Yeah,
questions?
I would just like to name something that I'm experiencing and seeing. And for me, it's part of hope and optimism. And that is the way that you are bringing light into the room. You're smiling a lot. I can tell you're listening deeply. You're making eye contact. I mean, these are all things that, you know, we don't think about the little things that we can do
Wow.
to feel that others feel seen and recognized
Yes.
and heard.
Yes,
And I think that is something that we can all do.
yes.
The way that you shared about that posture with youth and then said it's also the posture talking to BIPOC people.
Uh-huh,
It's the posture to talk to anyone,
that's
you
right.
know? And
That's right.
I have read your columns that have talked about some pretty depressing things, but somehow being optimistic. And I want to just name that you're coming in here and you are joyful. You're happy about something.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
And a piece of it is likely that you're with kindred spirits.
Yes, yes.
And the other piece that I'll name is the fact that you are a reverend. I'm a deeply spiritual person.
Uh-huh.
And I would love to see spirituality be part of the conversation, not
Yes.
not to
Yes.
divorce it from,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
joy and love and patience and humility
Yes,
of those qualities of spirit that are taught in every faith path.
uh-huh,
And
yes.
they're all in common.
yes, Yes.
It's shared humanity, spirituality, whatever you want to call it.
yes.
And I just feel that. I was like dying to meet you. But it comes through in your writing. So when you mention that when you can do to write, I want to just kudos to you. It works for me.
Thank you. Well, you know, this is so validating and so kind of you to say what you did, but you know, what I am giving out is also what I'm getting back. You know, I'm getting it from you, and so it's just this flow. And when I met all of you with these warm handshakes and then, you know, can we hug? There was a great moment. Yes, please hug, please hug. So remember that it's a flow, and if you put out
Right.
affirmation, you will get affirmation often.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate what you've said, Joanne. I think that's great. And I'm gonna build on it just for a
Good.
moment.
Yeah.
I often ask people very simply, what keeps you going?
Yeah.
And I have stopped saying, because of feedback, I'm just going to be very frank with you.
Yeah.
I've stopped saying what gives you hope, and I've stopped saying what brings you joy, because I got too much feedback. I have no hope or joy.
Mhm.
And then the conversation seems to be over. Then it was awkward. Then I made an assumption. But something, if they are upright and breathing and talking to me, they didn't stay in bed, they didn't pull the covers over their head, they didn't just get DoorDash or whatever you do.
Yeah.
They are not just eating bonbons in front of junk TV or binging. If they are upright, literally, and where I am in the world at a meeting or at church, I serve a church in Springfield, or wherever, they are in the world.
Yeah.
So it is often legitimate to say what keeps you going.
Totally.
I've also
Like
been known to say what's carrying you.
Oh.
I do say that. I don't as much anymore say what brings you hope, because people have said to me, why are you assuming I have hope?
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
hopeless world and I don't have hope. Then I feel horrible and they feel horrible and we just went down the rabbit hole of despair.
Right.
I also don't say what brings you joy,
Yeah.
because that is a high bar. But if they're upright and not in their bed with the quilt pulled over their head, and we're at a meeting or we're somewhere, I can say, what keeps you going? And people will say little things throughout the day, and I'll say, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Right.
Give me one of them. Tell me one of them. My granddaughter, my church, my house of worship, my prayer practice,
Right.
my walk in the woods, my
Yeah.
hike up Mount
Right.
Tom, all of it, they
Yeah.
will tell you. And then I say what I often say, which is 3 words I use all the time, which is tell me more.
Oh, yes.
When people pause, I say, tell me more.
Right.
And they will. Well, I go up Mount Tom every morning, every Monday morning with Betty. They'll tell you more.
That's
Yeah.
because now they have someone that wants to listen.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Right.
A lot of times when people have conversations, they only talk on the surface because it's a quiet time.
Yes.
And they don't want that awkwardness in between the person that they're dealing with. So they just say random stuff off of their head
That's right.
just to say, okay, you have a great day. But when someone responds, I'm listening, tell me more. Now like, oh,
Yep.
okay, well, this happened and
Yes.
this happened. And now they feel more open. And
Yes.
when they walk away, they feel like they've done something.
That's
even if
right.
They haven't gone anywhere.
That's right. And people are hungry for authentic relationships
Yes.
or authentic encounters, even an encounter, even
Exactly.
an encounter. People are hungry for an authentic exchange.
Exactly.
And so I really want to build on what Crystal's saying, that when you listen or when you ask a question and then say, tell me more, they feel heard, they feel seen, you're looking right at them. Also, you can create, I don't know how vulnerable you want to be, but you can create an authentic moment with somebody by telling them the truth when they say, hi, how are you? And
Yes.
I now sometimes say, not good.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
supposed to say, fine, thank you,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
fine, yes,
I have
hanging
experience
in,
with this.
hanging on,
Yeah.
you're supposed to do this and you're supposed to be fine, and I don't anymore.
Yeah.
I say not good, and then people say, what?
Yeah.
What, and
Yeah.
I say, my son was laid off and they have a baby coming, I'm not good.
Yeah.
How would you be good? Plus, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, plus climate change is horrible, plus Ukraine is getting worse, plus God,
Yeah.
I happen to think that there's genocide, but plus,
Mhm.
plus,
Yeah,
and I'm not good. How are you? And then you stand in the frozen foods at Big Y and you have a real 2-minute conversation.
Mhm.
People will say, I'm not good either.
Mhm.
Because they want someone they can relate to.
Absolutely.
It's all about that connection. If you
Relational.
don't have it, then you
Yeah.
don't feel like you're part of anything. There are people who are literally alone in this world.
That's right.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's been a perfect storm between technology and then the pandemic. It just
Mm.
really isolated us
Yeah.
into our, it
Yeah.
really draws back. And so drawing people out
Is twice as hard.
yeah.
Mm.
Because they have that security with going home, pulling the covers over their head, eating the bonbons,
That's right.
while on the internet, creating someone who they would like to be.
That's right.
Not
A
someone
facade.
who, exactly, not
Yeah.
someone who they are, but who they would like to be, which now empowers them, and they don't have to have a real relationship.
That's right.
It's a domino
I
effect.
think that's
And
exactly
like
right.
Mark said, it's harder now to have a conversation with people because they come out, they get their food, and they leave.
That's right.
So if you stop them in any type of way, they feel threatened
Mhm.
and, or they'll look scared, and it's just, hi,
That's
I
right.
just wanna say hi to you.
Yeah.
You know, that's it,
Yeah.
and they look like, oh, okay, hi,
Yeah.
like you just said something really dangerous to them.
I know.
Hi,
Dangerous.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is like ice cream and I don't want to stop you mid-scoop, but I just feel responsible
Okay,
to tell you the
time-
clock. I am the timekeeper.
8 o'clock.
Yeah, so
I mean,
do we want to go like
What time is
another 5 minutes? Does anybody want to synthesize anything else? That's,
did you want to table any of this?
I don't know.
Does Pat have anything to say?
I mean, all of our,
Pat has anything
I'm
to
just
say.
listening.
yes.
Okay,
I
cool.
mean, I enjoy this. This is something that we need, and whomever may watch it,
Yeah.
you know,
People watch.
listening to this may help them. This is
Oh, yeah.
mental health month.
Oh, I could
So-
go for an hour and a half, but I want to be
Yeah,
respectful.
right,
of your
And
time.
I'm probably going to need to excuse myself at 8:20. So we have a few more, and so you'll have some minutes too.
Okay, yeah, and it's good because,
Yeah, yeah.
again, this is mental health awareness month.
Oh,
And
cool.
having someone
Yeah.
of your stature talking about this,
Not stature, but someone who has things to say.
well, your importance and your experience.
That's
There we
very
go.
good, very-
There
that's
we
very
go.
And your
kind.
knowledge and
That's
your
very
empathy.
kind. That's right.
They can see that it's coming from a professional point of view and not just us sitting around
Yeah.
talking about it,
Yeah.
you know, some people, I always say, if you touch one person,
Yeah.
you've touched a million. Because word
it
of mouth
spreads.
can
Yes,
spread.
it spreads.
So one person watches
Like that.
this video
Mhm.
and hears what we're talking about, you never know, they may want to listen and learn more. Someone may reach out to you, someone may reach out to
any
us
of you.
to find
That's
out,
right.
how can I be a part of what you were discussing?
There you
How
go.
can I be a part of that table that you want people to listen?
That's right.
You know, so I just think that reaching out in a time like this of the homelessness and, you know, the children who are aging out of group homes
Mhm,
and have no
mhm,
family, nowhere to go,
mhm.
job loss, new additions, healthcare. I
Mhm.
think this is stuff that needs to be talked about in a non-political manner.
That's right.
And
I would
listening
agree.
to it makes you feel more comfortable than hearing it consistently on the TV, back and forth, up
Yeah.
and down, sideways, and you're
Yeah.
like, I don't want to hear it,
Yeah.
you know, and anyone who is, you know, lesbian, trans, lonely, whatever it is, everyone is welcome.
That's right.
Everyone has a voice.
Yeah.
Never feel, you know, alone, never feel like you're doing this all by yourself.
Mhm.
Because there's someone else waiting to listen. And if someone else is waiting to listen, then speak.
That's right,
You don't have
And
to
speak.
identify yourself,
speak.
just speak.
that's right.
You know, we're here to listen, we're here to understand, and again, we'll put that tape X over our mouth. We can't talk, even if we wanted to, we're just gonna listen.
Uh-huh,
Vent to us, tell us what it is that's bothering you, tell us what we can do, how can we help? You know,
That's right.
we have, some of us have resources, some of us just are a good listener.
that's right.
Yeah,
So everyone has an opportunity to reach out, be helped, and you don't have to feel like you're alone.
That's right.
You really don't, because there's a lot of that going on,
Certainly.
you know, especially with all of the policies and rules changing. People felt alone before.
And now it's worse.
Now it's worse. Now
Yeah.
you really don't.
Now it's worse.
Everything. I mean, DEI is not just for BIPOC, you know, it's
That's
for
right.
every,
That's right.
and they took that away.
That's right.
Affirmative action, everyone.
That's
And
right.
they took that away.
That's right.
So it's a lot of people, a lot of categories, a lot of cultures that are worried, scared, do not know what to do,
That's right.
you know?
I think Joanne read it, but in March, I wrote one of my columns, I read a column every month, and, my Gazette column in March, started, this was the first sentence. I brought a copy from my computer. I didn't bring the newspaper copy, but the opening sentence was, I am a DEI professional.
yeah.
And then, do you remember that one?
Keep
And
going.
then it went on to say, I want to make that perfectly clear in case the thugs that surround Donald Trump want to find, harass, or arrest me. I've worked in the field of diversity, equity, and inclusion for 40 years. The misguided, uninformed white nationalists who do Trump's bidding and carry out his dangerous executive orders might want to censor, discredit, or try to shame me for doing good work to further cross-race dialogue, diversity advancement, and anti-racism activism. And I brought you this in case you want, I brought you a copy
Sure,
in
I
case
would
you
love
want to
that.
see it, because it goes on to say where Crystal was going, what DEI really
But
is.
really,
How it has
Yes.
been
Yes.
interpreted.
Yeah.
Oh, I used scrap paper, sorry. there's some-
No, I apologize.
I recycle paper, and there
I do
seems to be a thing on the
Absolutely.
back, but that's because I
They're
recycle paper.
sustainable.
I do
But,
it too.
it's sustainable,
Yeah.
but, in this piece, which I brought that I thought I would share with you, I do say, here, I'll just read you one
Sure.
tiny little paragraph. Those pushing back against Trump's irresponsible and vicious attempts to dismantle DEI programs nationwide are urging us to say and spell out the words whenever possible. Diversity, equity, inclusion. These are noble words. They are not to be shied away from. Say them again. Diversity, equity, inclusion. So anyway, I brought you that so you can, it sounds like Joanne knows it, but Crystal,
Yeah, I don't know.
that's
We
for
had
you.
an
I read it.
interesting discussion for a couple minutes at last month's meeting.
Yes.
And tell me if you don't want me to repeat this, but Crystal said at one point, should we rename ourselves?
Yeah.
And I think she was saying, just reorienting equity to diversity and inclusion. But I had this response, this gut response, and I think I tried to hold it down as much as I could, but I'm sure it bubbled out. It's kind of like when I am with my like-minded friends and they don't want to fly the flag. I said, that is our flag.
Yeah, that's right.
It's our
I'm
flag.
gonna stand with it, you
I
know?
agree.
Yeah,
They can't co-opt the flag. They can't co-opt or scare us away from
That's
it.
right.
yeah.
But then I also acknowledge that I'm saying that from the standpoint that I also say to my friends, my cohort, or what you would say, we look like the perpetrators, so we're the last ones they'll come for. So it's easy for us to stand
Right,
strong.
that's right.
Yeah.
We're not as vulnerable. We'll be the last ones they come for.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
Yeah,
And
you
in
did say that.
I'm encouraging people to fly many flags. to fly the pride flag and to fly the Palestinian flag and to fly the Ukrainian flag and to fly the American flag. To
Mm.
show that these are us, that
Oh.
our family stands with Ukraine, by the way.
Yeah.
We stand with
Sure.
Ukraine and believe that it was invaded
Yep.
and the lie about they invaded or started. I don't believe that.
Yeah.
And we certainly, I mean, I'm married to a Jew, we certainly
Mhm.
are in solidarity with Jewish people worldwide and don't stand for anti-Semitism in any way. But the Palestinian flag and the Jewish flag and the pride flag and the trans flag and then you put right in the middle, the American flag. So it's not there alone, but you do several things. So that's what I'm encouraging people and houses of worship to do.
I'm an architect at UMass, and a project I started almost 2 years ago. They asked me to perk up this dingy stairwell that goes up to this fun arts floor. But
Uh-huh.
it looks so dingy that when people enter, they think they're in the wrong place.
Mhm.
So I was looking at ways to brighten it up. And one idea I had was to put different colored treads on each step,
Mm.
and it became the rainbows. And it's finally being funded, and it's finally going ahead, and a question was raised this week. Now, I don't want to point fingers. The question was raised, is this DEI? Is this, and I said, it had absolutely no discussion of that.
Yep,
And I'm not gonna shy away from it because people are afraid of,
good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you,
What?
good for you.
so I'm still pushing for this.
There you go.
I said, I'm not gonna give away all this stuff.
Don't give away.
Yeah,
And if people say for, downtown Northampton, anything like that, is that DEI? I say, is the crayon color box, are all those is that DEI?
Right.
Look at that, it's got
Right.
I
brown, and
like
it's
that.
got white, and
I
it's
like
got
that.
black, and it's got red. The crayons in my toddler's crafting table, I think it's a little.
I think we should give them
DEI.
all black and white
Yeah.
print.
Exactly, so just,
I like
there it
that.
is there, and they're side by side and.
And then when you mix them,
And
you
you
come up
mix
with
it,
better
very
colors.
exactly, so is that, DEI, should we be concerned about that? So just put it all on its head, but not backing away from the
Yeah.
steps. Those are the colors in a toddler's crayon box.
Mhm.
And
Right.
no one owns them, and people can interpret this however they want, but you were trying to brighten up a dingy staircase and brought color into it. Since when color became so political,
Exactly.
I'm not sure. So
Exactly.
for you for standing
Yeah.
by it.
Yes, that was
Back in
awesome.
1939,
Yeah.
on the other side of the ocean, but anyway.
Yes,
I think so.
yes,
Yeah.
I would love to see the stairwell when it's done.
I do too. What building is it?
It is the Fine Arts Center.
Oh,
And
okay.
the top floor that spans across
Yeah,
everything is
yeah.
called the Bridge, because there's open air.
Okay.
And that used to be the design studios, but now they did a project like 2 years ago, and it's really gorgeous, and they have, like multimedia labs in there and all this stuff, and you get up there and there's art, and it's beautiful. But the stair to get there, you think you're going down to like the custodian's.
Dungeon.
That's
You know,
so
yeah.
funny.
And
Gotcha.
so we're gonna brighten it with more light. I'm gonna have sign, paint stencils on the wall that says Archbridge,
Yeah,
You're
keep
going the right
going,
way.
yes, keep going.
Something
That's
right.
great.
Yeah.
You know what's weird though? It's like, it's crazy because there can also be a hidden message, like. If you want to see the color and you want to see diversity, you have to go through this dark, dingy. Alleyway or steps to get there, and that can deter people from going.
Mhm.
Well, we just made an interesting change. I was doing it with the treads being multicolored, so
Mhm.
you would see it going up, going down.
Mhm.
And it was brought to our attention, if you do the risers, then they won't get dirty and they'll stay bright.
Oh,
So you'll see it
Yeah.
going up and you won't see it coming down.
that's
It'll look,
so
so it will prepare you for the art
going
going
up,
up,
yeah.
and it will prepare you for the world going down.
love that.
So it's,
This is
it's the metaphorical stair.
Yeah.
It's like an art installation going, I mean, it's going up to the art and it's like an art installation. I
Right.
love this.
Yeah.
I love this.
So it's a lot of messages you can take from it.
That's
and
right.
You can witness, you can understand. I mean, something like that is what we need in this world. Give someone's brain something to think about. You know, everything is just given and placed and offered and taken. Nothing these days
Mm,
anyone has to think the next generation hard about.
mhm,
They don't even know how to drive a car.
mhm,
Like,
mhm.
I seen someone driving a Tesla, they had to be 21, 22, and he had three of his friends in the car, and he was like, let his
Mhm.
hands off the steering wheel, and it literally parked itself.
Wow.
I said, okay, I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
done.
Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, we need to let you go.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna go. I'm actually zooming with a friend who is not well, and
Yeah.
she wanted to check in today, and I had a very busy day, and then she said tonight, and I said, yes, I will come
Yeah.
home and we will
Yeah.
Zoom. So I'm actually getting on Zoom with a friend who had a diagnosis,
Oh, man.
not yesterday, but recently enough that she's still working. and
Yeah,
working.
No, this is a hard time to be unwell. I've got a friend
Yeah.
who's got stage 4.
Oh, Lord.
And they must be thinking, will I see us emerge out of this
Yeah.
dark era?
Yeah,
Will I live to see it, you know?
Will I live to see
Ooh,
the end
yeah.
of this chapter?
Yeah.
That's interesting, Mark. So your
Ooh.
friend has a serious diagnosis, and when you project into the future, there is a sense of
Their future
Will I
is
see-
scaling back.
That's
It's
right.
scary.
Yeah.
that is scary.
That's
No, and it's a hard time to be sick and to be involved in the healthcare system.
yeah, it is. Yeah,
Oh, my goodness,
so scary.
the lack of access.
Yeah.
The not called, but at least in
Yeah.
this area,
Yeah.
getting to see a specialist, getting to see, it's
Yeah.
hard.
It's a lot going on.
It is a lot
it's a
going
long
on.
list.
Friends, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you
to
so
be-
much.
I hope this was helpful. I'm
Yes,
just
thank you
assuming
for
you're
coming.
being frank that this
Oh,
was
this is
helpful.
absolutely wonderful.
So,
Honestly.
we will be in touch.
Yes.
And if things keep unfolding, invite me back.
Okay.
I will
And-
come back and we will keep talking. Thank you.
Oh, what a
Thank you.
treat,
Oh, what a
Andrea.
treat. It's a treat
Yes.
to meet you.
You too.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Bye,
Yeah.
dear.
Yeah.
I am very grateful and I'll be in touch with
Okay.
you. I have your
Thank you.
email address.
Yes,
Bye,
please
Mark.
do. I would love to.
Please
do
take
that.
good care. Invite me back.
Yes.
I
Okay.
mean, to keep talking, let's keep
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
Let's keep talking.
That's
Great,
wonderful.
great.
Look at you, I'm happy.
Oh, yeah.
That's my favorite thing.
Look
Look at you.
It's
Right, I am very happy that I came.
Yes.
And I'm
Good.
delighted that you asked me, and thank you for, thank you for trusting that we would have a useful and
Oh, yeah.
and a
yeah.
helpful conversation, and I think we did. And it was energizing for me also.
Oh, good.
So friends,
Good.
Came out.
it came out great.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can be completely great.
It's still light out.
I'm glad that we went where, thank you. I'm glad we went where we did. That was such an interesting back and forth.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody. You
You're
take
welcome.
care.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll be safe.
Yeah, okay,
Bye
good.
bye, dearie. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was wonderful, guys. That was
Having
excellent.
visitors
man.
is
Like,
really
how do you,
exciting.
how do you follow
Have
that?
you thought of that?
I don't even want to talk about anything. I like keep talking about that,
I
you know, it's just so wonderful. I
So
mean,
hopeful,
yeah,
you know?
it really is. And her
Not blind
ideas.
hope. I mean, she's
Exactly.
No.
very eyes open.
Exactly, you know, and in her attitude and her knowledge,
Oh, yeah.
it just gives you like, okay,
Yeah,
you know, there is a little bit of sunshine, no matter what day it is and
there's
whatever is
always
happening.
some light you can shed,
Yeah,
and that's the opportunity when it's really dark.
exactly, you know, when you,
You
when
know?
you meet someone in this day and age and they're as open-minded and soft and friendly as she is, it really just makes you want to absorb it. You don't want to mess it up with anything, you know? Well, I mean.
That you knew how to reach her.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
know.
know.
The funny thing is, when I searched, there is an Andrea Evasian professor.
Yeah, and she's a friend of
And you
mine.
get, and I sent one email to her, she said, wrong one, but here's the right, and she sent me the right one, because she
And
gets so many of the wrong.
she's a friend
I
of
bet.
mine. I've
Yeah.
known her for years. I know her husband and her kids.
I bet.
They're friends of my daughters,
So-
you know. Yeah.
Did you have anything back?
I have Juneteenth
Okay.
Oh, nice.
information,
Oh,
so
please.
that's coming up a week from
Yes, it
tomorrow.
is.
And I have a summary of the movie itself,
Okay.
and then on the back of that, I have a little bit of information. It's dated. But I like it. It describes very briefly what Juneteenth is, and then what people can do.
Oh, right.
Mhm.
I heard about this.
And it's very good. I think it's very good, and I usually hand it out
Oh,
on
really?
Juneteenth.
That's
And
great.
then I recently went to a film at Amherst Cinema,
Mhm.
and so I'm on their mailing list, and they are having short films on Thursday, June 19th at 7, celebrating Juneteenth. And
Right.
those films are listed, so I got
So all
the,
of those will be
yes.
That's right.
fabulous.
And
Yeah.
you can just, you have to go in person to get your tickets, though, they're not doing them online.
Well, that's good.
That's
We're
where
doing
Emerson.
things online.
So anyway,
Yeah.
that's, that's my little.
Thank you.
I
That's
think I'm gonna
wonderful.
try my hand at, Red Velvet Cupcakes as refreshments and
Oh,
bring some iced tea or something. If you want to join, if you haven't seen this particular film, please feel.
I wanna say yes now, but you never know what can happen on
Yeah.
that day.
I'm planning to, but I'm gonna be gone Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But I'll be back.
It's great, the senior center crowd is excellent as
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
having been to them, I mean, really engaged and.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They are, you would be surprised at the energy and enthusiasm they have. It's-
And appreciation for
Yeah,
us.
exactly.
Oh,
For
yeah.
bringing these films.
It's a
Exactly.
really
to the
nice,
senior
yeah.
center, and Violet is just
it's a
amazing.
great collaboration.
It's a great collaboration.
I was wondering what happened to,
She's acting,
Who?
yeah,
To what?
you're talking about Nikki.
Nikki, yeah.
Nikki is on administrative leave. I didn't ask why.
Oh,
That's what I was told a few weeks ago.
oh,
And then Violet is the acting director.
Oh,
okay.
So she's probably got a full plate, but yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, now I know who to contact in case I want to do anything. I just go straight to Violet. I mean,
Can't go wrong with Violet.
yeah,
No.
no, she's wonderful.
She is.
So so
We're all set for Erica next week, Joanne?
next month, yeah.
Next month, sorry.
Yeah, and I think that I sent to you all, she just had a few questions, but I sent her a mission statement. Let me see, I
Oh, yeah, I
have it up
remember
here.
saying that you sent her something.
Yeah, she wants to know, what is the topic you're considering? How long will the meeting and our discussion be, and who is the audience, and how much do they know about DEI? And I just let her know it's us, it gets recorded.
Mhm.
This is what we do, here's our mission statement.
Right,
What we know about DEI is our experience and what we've read. Yeah, but I said that I would bring this to the group to see if there's anything else that we wanted to. Say in response to this.
I was pretty inspired, and I know you brought this up before, Kristen, was, what is our interest responsibility for partnering with younger people? And Erica probably has some great ideas about that, and that she works at now.
right,
Oh,
yeah. That's
What
true.
has she found effective in connecting with students?
Right.
And what advice would she give us in terms of connecting here in Hadley?
Exactly, communicating and the steps and possibilities of what we can do, that would be excellent too, yeah. That's what works wonderful, yeah.
I sent this to everyone, either if you wanna tell her that or give me the wording and I can respond to her on whatever.
You can just write what I said.
Well, you said it great, I kind of wrote it.
Are interesting connecting.
But what impressed me is how she influenced my daughter. who
Right, I
At the
remember
time
that,
was,
yes.
was, 20,
Right,
so that is in that.
And that's what was in my mind
Okay.
when I
When
thought
you-
of it,
yeah,
because
exactly.
you actually had an interest in her because of her ability to connect with your
Mhm.
daughter and support your daughter.
Yeah, and then I got to meet her in person, and I could just see her
Yeah.
in action, the way she, has just got a huge heart,
right.
among other things.
So,
Okay, I can do that.
Indigenous Peoples' Day, October 13th. I mean, we can talk about that another time.
Yes.
Meeting.
What I want to talk about is the meeting we had today.
Yeah.
With, Candida.
Cool,
Yeah, so we did
right.
meet with her today. We did speak in depth and length about everything. She is more than happy to do a Zoom meeting instead of coming in person, in August. And then after that, she can come in person in later dates,
Right.
you know, and talk about everything that she's part of and what the circle that she does. She was a very wonderful person. I mean, talking to her and listening to her made a lot of sense on why she does what she does. You know, it's been a long road, but the outcome is wonderful. So looking forward to setting that up. We just have to, gather some people together who can come and or go to the Zoom and that are open-minded and willing to accept information and look into how to be a more, I don't want to say diverse community, but, open to change,
Yeah.
open to making a change and welcoming people, but I'm quite sure Pat may have some other things that she.
Well, we had looked at a date, which is Friday, August 15th, from 4 to 6. We thought 4 to 6 might be manageable for people who have, a 9 to 5 kind of job and may be able to jump on a Zoom at 4, and it wouldn't be, then you could have dinner.
Right.
August 15th was one of the dates she identified as being able to come here, but we're talking instead about a Zoom. She said she had a little more flexibility if we do a Zoom, but we know she's available August 15th. And she said, she suggested no more than 9 people. And I think it's gonna be the kind of group, Joanne, that you've participated in. And she would share,
Yeah.
How she brings people together and the kinds of things. And we thought we would find 9 people, ourselves included, who might want to participate in this, and then figure out after that first meeting, where do we want to go, right?
Right,
Does that
right,
sound
yeah.
fair?
So after the first meeting of, everyone sitting down, we can decipher from there how to go and move forward.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't hold the attention of those people that come, it doesn't make sense to waste her time, of her trying to provide this information and this event to us, and it's not being accepted, in the way that she would see, to move forward. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's wonderful that she's willing to do this as a community event. If she had to come in person, she would bring 2 of her workers with her.
Yeah.
And then that's where the fee would come in.
Yeah.
So doing this on Zoom is why it's free, because now they can be stationary
Right, sure.
and they don't have to go anywhere. And she can also do it, and, she doesn't mind doing community events with it. So
Yeah.
it's really, we had coffee and tea and just sat and talked like friends. It was nothing she wasn't willing to answer. We just all 3 of us, we just sat there and laughed and spoke about things and, how the culture is and how we all experience the same thing. Underneath the covers, we're all going through something.
Yeah.
And if you don't talk with someone, you never know what's happening. So when you greet someone, it's always, on my end, it's always nice to say hello. I don't care what a person thinks. I don't care how you look. I can say hello. You can accept it or not, but I'm still going to say hi. And
Sure.
I'm still going to try to make you have a better day. That's just me. I don't know. But I'm not going to be angry at someone because they're having a bad day. Your hello, like I said before, might really turn their day around. So you always want to try to be outgoing. Some people it's hard because they are introverts, but it's easy to wean your way out of that. I used to be introverted, And I'm not anymore, as you can see. But, you know, now I love talking to people, strange, I mean, I'll go to the supermarket and I'll just talk to someone and
Yeah.
they'll look at me like, why are you talking to me? You know, and I do not see color. I do not see any of that. I see a human being.
Yeah.
That's all I see. I don't see anything else. And if you have your glasses on and you only see one color, you need to remove them. You know, clean them off a little bit. You might like what you see. Well, I'm not saying it me.
I understand.
I mean, you might like the conversation, you know. So it is, you know,
Crystal, do you think it would be helpful if we individually thought of another person who might like to participate in this? Like,
Yeah.
how would we move this forward? Because if we were gonna go for a date in August, and Candida said no more than 9, I think 9 or fewer.
yeah, more than 5 or more, but less than 9.
Yeah, and I didn't know if we wanted to start with our group and see if we as a group and you know,
See if Megan.
Megan wanted to join, like that would be 5 and then come up with 3 more people. I didn't know how we wanted to proceed, but I know we're all committed to this.
Oh, I'll be there.
That would be like a good start and then
Right.
figure out who else might want to
Well, I
join.
know you said earlier, reaching out to people that may have connections
Right,
so that they can possibly provide the information they find out to whomever they have contact with.
in Hadley, so
Right,
of course,
in
Hadley,
Hadley, right.
people who work in Hadley or live in Hadley. Or
Right.
have some position in Hadley.
Exactly.
Where they
Well-
could, you know, because I could have really not do justice to what I see as a beautifully sophisticated approach to
Right.
human relationships.
Right.
That Candida, espouses,
Yeah.
but how do you build bridges and relationships and greater respect, among people and influence your environment to be that
Right.
kind of environment? I
Right.
think that's what we're hoping
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
And this committee would be an impetus for
Right.
that,
Right,
even more than already we tried to,
right,
right?
right. Yeah, I think that's a great idea to have us, you know, be the basis. And then
Yeah.
bring a few more people in, because I guess we can gauge from their response, how it may be taken by someone else.
Mhm.
You know, because I think, like you said, dealing with people in Hadley and seeing the response from the people in Hadley, that the few that do come, then it gives us a perspective of what to expect if we have more people, or if we even do go forward. So people of, you know, have political ties or, you know, whatever we think, I mean, we all can come together and, you know, throw the idea out there and come back with us and then, you know, say, well, this person wants to do it, this person wants, because you never know, we may all come up with 3, 4, 5 people. So
Yeah.
we have to, you know, sift through that.
We should be something.
Are we
Can we
thinking
say
like,
that date would work for all of us here today?
I can,
You
oh,
can,
I'd make it work. I
Yeah.
mean,
that's why I said I can.
I'm
Yeah.
just,
I am checking.
Friday the
that,
15th.
I'm
I mean,
thinking
that's a good
that's,
starting place, 'cause then
Exactly.
we could invite people and give them a date
Exactly, and a time.
and a time.
So once we have the date, so what time do you think?
You
we
said
should-
4 to 6, and I thought that was
How many, she said 2 hours, right?
4 to 6,
did.
4 PM to 6.
No, her talk
yeah,
is 2 hours.
she usually spends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
it's 2 hours.
2
Okay,
hours.
so it is 4. I thought maybe selecting a time between 4 and 6.
oh, no, I
From
think
4 to.
Start at
No,
4
4
and
and
then
then
hit
6,
yeah.
so like
Okay.
people would have to get out of work maybe a little
Okay.
earlier.
I
but
see,
then
that's,
it
I
would
was
be
wondering why you kept saying 4 o'clock in the morning. No, I guess,
Yeah.
start at 4
4
and
and
end
at
at 6.
6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
Well, I'm just saying if that's probably the day that our group meets at 6 o'clock.
oh,
Yes.
no, really?
I would do
Have a
better.
marathon.
But,
Yeah.
but at this point, our group is in the summer, it's a little smaller. And we could always opt to skip one, and that happens in the summer.
Okay.
So
Right,
that's not a
I
limiting
would-
factor.
I
Yeah.
would jump more readily if it were a Monday through Thursday.
All right, so like. the
This
Thursday,
Friday,
the
we like to
14th.
get off
Yeah.
and get up to Maine. So, but
Mhm.
if possible, I mean, if that's,
But it's a Zoom as
Zoom
well.
thing.
yeah, if it's a Zoom, so that would make it easier for them to
Okay.
do another day.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
So
that
you said the
So she
15th was the
can't-
day she can do in person.
they
Right,
could do a person, but she said she had a little more flexibility if it was a Zoom.
yeah, if it was a Zoom.
So I would do the 15th if there's nothing.
But you
other
would
than
also
a
do the
Friday.
14th,
Yes.
and the 14th would you do?
Yes.
How about
Any
you,
day.
Joanne?
Yeah, just when is our next, okay, what day is our next? That's this July, so, oh, the 21st, okay, so our next CGI's 21st. Yeah. I don't have anything that day either.
Okay, so do you want to ask her if she could do the 14th? Or do you
Yeah.
want me to ask her? You'll ask
You
her?
can, if you.
I'll ask her.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can
and
ask
then
her.
we'll get back to us.
Yeah,
And then I'll reach out to Megan. You want me to
Yeah.
reach out
Yeah.
to Megan?
yeah,
And then
and
we
see if Megan can
Okay,
also do.
Wow,
because I think this is great, and I just would really like
I'm
to
just glad it's
you know,
happening.
move it.
Yeah.
I think we would really benefit as a
Yeah.
town and as a.
Yeah.
group, and
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's really
Oh,
good,
that's-
important and great work.
Yeah, and it may bring the community a little bit more.
I think so too, yeah.
Because it's not something that's, a threat. And it's not something to be afraid of.
No.
Would we think about like a select board member?
Yeah, she thinks so.
Anyone like that, anyone,
You know,
anyone
I
you think,
I don't have contacts with.
right, but
Rebecca
anyone
Annie.
you think that would be open-minded and receptive to what she's going to be talking about. It can't be someone who would come in indecisive.
Right,
We want someone who's willing and able and ready to accept the information and possibly pass it on.
yeah,
I think that's a really good
Yeah.
suggestion,
Yeah.
people who have some position in
yeah,
that.
I'm just thinking
exactly.
Molly, Chief Mason and Annie McKenzie, you know, I mean, it just comes to my mind,
Right,
you know. But I don't have direct relationships with them.
Or even, Jane.
Oh, well,
yeah.
yeah, should be on board for that.
Mhm.
All right, so I,
Oh,
guys have some homework.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
Okay,
So,
Oh, that's
I've got
just
to-
great.
Pretty soon.
Yeah, we have to
I
go.
guess we can, well, we don't have to do closing reflections unless anyone has anything real quick.
This was a great meeting, that's my
Okay,
reflection.
good.
The meeting and seeing everyone.
I liked a lot of things that she said, but I really like to say when she said invite me back again.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like,
I
Oh,
know,
yeah.
and she said, I said,
You'll have to
great,
come.
yeah, I said, great, I'm glad that she's willing to come
I haven't
back.
officially resigned yet, so.
Okay,
I was happy
Get
when
that-
she said
I'll
that.
get that letter in it.
so you'll come to the next meeting?
I might.
Oh,
All right.
okay. Gonna talk more about you?
You've been warned.
I love.
Well,
love having.
I guess we should make a motion to end the meeting.
I would make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,